Welcome to the Change Agent Coach channel. I'm Jonathan Hankin, and I help leaders like you navigate change, develop key skills, and drive impact. Today, we're diving into the topic of how to give feedback that inspires change without causing conflict. Let's get started. Feedback is essential for growth, both for your team and for yourself. But let's be honest, giving feedback is difficult, and we many times wonder if it's even going to make a difference. That's why today I'm going to walk through a simple, effective framework for delivering feedback that's clear, productive, and free of unnecessary conflict. By the end of this episode, you'll have the practical steps you need that you can apply immediately to give feedback that motivates rather than discourages. Let's jump in. Feedback isn't just about correcting mistakes. It really is about helping people grow and succeed. As leaders, our job isn't to be a critic, it's to be a coach. The goal of feedback is to build up, not tear down. But here's the problem. Many leaders avoid giving feedback because they're afraid of conflict. Or they give feedback in a way that is not helpful. It comes across as critical, defensive, or vague, and that leads to resentment instead of improvement. A study by Gallup found that only 26% of employees strongly agree that feedback they received actually helped them do their job better. That's a problem. And why it's learning how to give feedback well is more important than ever. How to give thoughtful, actionable feedback is such a critical skill of leadership. So how do you make sure the feedback you're giving is both helpful and well received? Well, that's where the following framework can help with this. I use a simple 3-step framework when giving feedback: prepare, deliver, and follow up. Let's walk through each step. The first one is prepare. Before you say anything, or before I say anything, ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I want the outcome to be? Be clear in your mind what success will look like and what's a realistic outcome. 2, what's the specific issue I'm going to focus on? In other words, what will I focus on? And facts, not just talking about random items that I've observed. What is a fact that I have seen, and not focusing on feelings? And then 3, what's the tone that I want to set? Approach the conversation with curiosity and support, not judgment. So prepare yourself by asking, what's the root cause? How can I help them succeed next time? And how can I make them feel supported rather than attacked? Next is deliver. So when you're ready to give the feedback, I recommend using the SBI model, which is situation, behavior, impact. In other words, situation, describe the context of the situation you want to talk about. Behavior, explain what you observed. And then 3, share how it affected the team or project. In other words, what was the impact that you saw? For example, hey, I want to talk to you about the client report. I noticed it was submitted a day late. You gave the situation. That meant we had to push back the presentation. That's the impact. I'd love to understand what happened and see how we can prevent that in the future. Focus on the behavior, not the problem. Stick to what happened, why it matters, and how to move forward. So you've prepared yourself mentally in your mind. You've thought about what you want to say. You've delivered it, but it's not over. Now there's follow-up. The conversation doesn't end after you give the feedback. You need to listen, give the other person a place to share their perspective, collaborate, work together on a solution. Ask, what would help you avoid this next time? Next, set clear expectations with timeframes. This is very important. If progress is made, reinforce it with a scheduled check-in. If there's hesitation, immediately clarify on the spot. Hey, to make sure we're on the same page, let's confirm the expectations and timeframe moving forward. So the last part of follow-up is check-in. And you want to do this 1 to 2 weeks after you've had the conversation. And this is to reinforce accountability. Now, something I like to do is I like to set them up well by letting them know this conversation is going to happen in the future. So I usually say something along the lines of, let's agree to check in a week or 2 and see how things are going. Of course, if you need something before then, feel free to reach out and let me know. This then, for me, clearly communicates that the conversation will continue. It's not done. There's going to be a follow-up. There'll be a next step. And then in that follow-up, it can be a simple question like, I appreciate the effort you've made towards improving the specific issue. How's it working for you so far? And let them start. Hear what they're saying, how things are going. Well, what happens if nothing changes? I mean, this happens at times. Let's be honest. Sometimes You go through the process and all these steps, and still nothing happens. There's no progress or ownership on their part. What do you do next? At this point, stick to the plan. Your role is to uphold expectations, not endlessly revisit the same conversation. The only thing that changes is that step 3 is now documented, along with your time frame and potential consequences. So for example, I appreciate you checking in, and I want to make sure we're aligned on the same page. Since we've discussed this several times, I'm going to document our conversation so there's no confusion going forward. Let's quickly review the goals, the expectations, and what are next steps that we need to work on together. Why this works. One, it reinforces the importance of accountability while still offering support. It also ensures clarity. There's no room for, I didn't realize that was the issue, or I didn't know that's what we were talking about. Also, the last part, it all naturally leads to the next performance management step, if necessary, which many times looks like a verbal discussion, then a written notice, an improvement plan, and then final action. Whatever your process is, you now know clearly what the next step is, and so does the employee. By clarifying where they stand in the process, you highlight the severity of the situation while still providing a path forward. Some common mistakes leaders make when giving feedback and how to avoid them. The first one is delaying feedback. I've been guilty of this myself. Feedback loses its impact if it's given too late. Give feedback as close as possible to the event, so it's fresh in your mind and it's fresh in their mind. Number 2, the second mistake is the feedback sandwich. We all hate this. I mean, we've all had it to us, and maybe you've done it. But you know this one where you start with some praise, you put in the crappy information, and then you end with praise. It confuses people. It makes the conversation feel not authentic and just difficult. Be authentic, be supportive, be real. It goes a long way. Don't do the sandwich. And the last mistake is focusing on personality over behavior. In other words, using words or phrases like you're careless or you're not doing the right thing all the time, whatever negative statement you want to make about them. Instead, I've noticed the report has had some errors. I've noticed that this hasn't happened. Focus on what they did, not on who they are. So here's the big takeaway. Giving feedback is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and practice. So prepare thoroughly, prepare thoughtfully, deliver with clarity and empathy using the SBI model, situation, behavior, impact, and then follow up to reinforce the change and provide support. So here's an action step for the week if you want to take this further. Pick one person on your team who would benefit from feedback. Apply the 3-step framework, prepare, deliver, and follow up, and see how it goes. Feedback isn't about perfection, it's about progress. When you make feedback part of your leadership style, you'll see stronger relationships, better results, and a more engaged team. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you found this helpful. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with another leader who could use this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.